And now, Fairfax Breakfast Club with your host, Basil Lemba.
Welcome to the Fairfax Breakfast Club show. My name is Basil Lemba and I will be your host. The Fairfax Breakfast Club is a weekly program in which we bring to you valuable and workable know-how you can use to improve your networking skills and grow your business. We always start the show with a quote, and today's quote is from one of our founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin. And he says, "No nation was ever ruined by trade." With us today in the studio, we have a very special guest, someone with a great deal of devotion to the trade in this county. I would like to let him introduce himself to you, and that is Mr. Gerald Gordon. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Very good. Very
Thanks
glad
for having me today.
My pleasure. It's something that I've been planning to have for a very long time. We know you are the CA of the FCEDA, which is the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority.
Right.
But in going around the community, I don't have the impression that people understand exactly what is the organization and what you can do for them. So if you just could please cover that for us, that would be great.
Okay. Perhaps it would be helpful for people to know why we exist and why the Board of Supervisors in Fairfax County funds an economic development program.
Okay.
In Virginia, local governments constitute their budgets on the basis of real estate taxes.
Okay.
And so many years ago, the Board of Supervisors recognized that when a resident pays a tax dollar, they take back far more in public services than they contribute in terms of tax dollars. So those are expensive dollars to collect. They also realize that if a business pays a tax dollar, they take back far less in public services. So those are great tax dollars to collect.
Gotcha.
So they sent us out to bring businesses into the community, because what happens is when the existing office space gets filled to about a 5 or 6% vacancy rate, then there's new construction, and that new construction contributes to the tax base.
Gotcha.
And it enables the Board of Supervisors then to provide public services of high quality, large quantities, and a wide scope of public services for a community that's becoming increasingly diverse. And that's all in very important stuff. The Board of Supervisors has continued to support, and this current board, Sharon Bulba, who is the chairman, and the board members have been strongly supportive of business growth because it helps them to provide those services without placing the entire burden of the cost on residents. So that's our raison d'etre.
Gotcha. Very good. And when was the EDA created and founded?
Well, we go back into the mid-1960s, but it wasn't until the late 1970s that we really got the current charge that we have now. And the reason was the county's population was 455,000 people. And they saw that in 13 years, going through 1990, the population was going to grow up from 455,000 to about 800,000.
Double.
And it actually did. It went to 819 in the census. So they saw the growing cost of providing public education and providing public safety and public works and everything, parks and libraries, everything that comprises our quality of life was the expenses were going to become very great. And the population was becoming increasingly diverse, so we needed to present public services in different languages and in the context of different cultures so that we can help school children. And I have, for another example, I have my youngest son is a firefighter paramedic. And he has to take Spanish because if you can't help someone, if you can't understand what their needs are, where they hurt, it's hard to help them. So this diversity in Fairfax County has financial implications for the county. It's a great strength in the county, but it means that we have to be cognizant of how we provide public services. So we still are in this position. It's very funny. We haven't changed much in this respect. We're now just under 1.2 million residents. Okay. We expect the county to go as high as 1.3, 1.35 million in the next generation or so. And that means new schools and new libraries and parks and all those services. And unless you and I as residents want to pay for it all, then the board needs us to continue to bring businesses in.
Makes sense. Totally makes sense. Okay. Now, how does, special question here, how does the metro affect the Fairfax County?
That's a good question. We were the only region in the United States that I could think of, or find, maybe in the world, where you could not get on rail and go all the way to the primary airport, Washington Dulles International Airport. You couldn't access by rail. So that coming into Tyson's Corner, which is the primary sub-market in the region, and going out to Reston, which is the second largest sub-market in the region, and then on to the airport, was vital, not only for practicality purposes, but also for the sake of appearances. Are you a major league city? Well, then you have a means of getting to the airport by rail. We also have companies that are now starting to come into Tyson's Corner, and Intelsat, for example, which announced its headquarter relocation from Washington into Tyson's Corner, has told us that if it had not been for the metro system coming to Tyson's, they wouldn't have considered it. So it's vitally important.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I wonder if anyone can tell the impact that will have.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think so, because
right.
it's going to change. It's going to make things so. I mean, I'll go sometimes to. I happen to live by myself. Sometimes I travel. I go to Dallas Airport.
Right.
Sometimes, if I could just have a metro, it would be so easy for me.
Yes, exactly.
Because I go. If I'm saying there, I'm saying a week, 2 weeks, I got to park my car over there to make it easy. Or, I mean, the flow, I think, is going to have some serious impact on the economy.
I think so too.
It's fantastic.
And we now have 100,000 people working in Tyson's Corner every day. That's going to go as high as 300,000.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's a lot of people who will be able to take from their homes, coming into Tyson's, will be able to take the metro rather than being on the highways.
I can think with that because I lived in Europe for 10 years, in Paris, in France.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's no big deal for somebody to live 50 miles away from Paris. In fact, most of the jobs are in Paris.
Right, that's right.
A little people go out of Paris because they live there, they have a house over there, but everybody get on the road. That's the power of the access.
Yes, and you'll find in places in this country like New York, how many people come into the city for work on rail. They're not driving into the city. So it's very, very important to us.
No, I think it's the major. It's definitely life-changing.
It is. It's absolutely
yes.
so. We would not be able to increase the densities or increase the office space in Tyson's Corner from roughly 25 million square feet to an estimated 65 to 70 million square feet ultimately without the metro. It just wouldn't be possible. So it is changing. It's landscape changing too.
Unquestionably.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yep.
And are they going to put apartments, add apartment in Tyson? I mean, I'm guessing, I imagine.
Yes. We will also go in that same sort of generational time frame. We'll go from the current 20,000 residents to somewhere around 120,000. So that makes Tyson's Corner a very sizable city. And that the interesting thing about this region, different from other regions around the United States, is that in most regions you have the center city, and that's the primary job market. And it certainly is here as well. But in most places, it's the primary job market. You may have 2 or 3 other strong markets around it. In the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, we have suburban markets that are very strong in 6, 8, 10 different places. We have Tyson's and Reston and Merrifield, and you have Crystal City and Pentagon City and the Rosslyn Boston part. Then you have Rockville on the Maryland side and Columbia and Bethesda. So that's unusual. So the ability to get not only into the city, but out from the city is critically important to us. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's I like it. Anytime, anyway, I believe you open communication, make easy for people to move.
Yes.
Good things happen.
That's absolutely right. And you've made an interesting point. You lived in Europe. A lot of people in this community, there are 38% of all the children who live in Fairfax County have at least one parent who is not from the United States.
Wow.
Maybe both parents, but at least one. 38%, and that's growing. So a lot of people come from other places where public transportation may be more the norm than jumping in a car every time you go somewhere.
Yes. Well, I guess they're going to be very much interested. I mean, business-wise, I believe we're going to have a lot of businesses coming this way.
That's true.
Amen, that's like, because, yeah, it's true, a business is a business, but also, of course, the living conditions
Yes.
is something they always look at before they make the decision. And if that's that's what I say, it's difficult to say the impact.
Yes.
It's going to have a deep, far-reaching impact. That metro rail.
It will.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that we don't have metro through other parts of the county, and maybe someday we will. But the eastern side of Fairfax County, so Seven Corners and Bailey's Crossroads and over to the Richmond Highway corridor, those would be ideal locations for metro stops if we could accommodate them financially. Fort Belvoir, in the most recent base realignment and closure decisions, got 16,500 more military personnel on base.
Wow.
And the result of that was we forecast that there will be another 8 to 10 million square feet of office space in that corridor to accommodate not the military personnel, but their contractors.
The support.
Yeah, who want to be or have to be. In some cases, they're required to be within certain mileage from the main gate. Well, that's a lot of office space, and it's great for the tax base. And it's good because we may be able to shortstop people from coming from the south, going all the way into the city for jobs. This may take some of the congestion out by stopping them in and around Belvoir, but if we could put them on light rail, that would be a spectacular addition.
Yes.
Yeah, and then there's another possible round, another base realignment and closure round coming in the next few years. Belvoir might be is a likely point where they will put more people. So anything we can do to alleviate the traffic congestion. The county has a lot of really great areas to develop, and everybody thinks about Tysons and Reston, but those eastern markets in Fairfax County, the eastern side of Fairfax County, are very, very strong.
Yeah, because they're talking about the base, and then we are DC, government contracting.
That's right. And the proximity to National Airport and the Pentagon and of course the city. That's all good for.
Very good.
Yeah.
Now, excellent. So why don't we could you please tell us what would the EDA represent for small business owners, or any business for that matter? What can they find, how resourceful it is for them? Because they may have heard about it, but they may not know what it could bring to them.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because there are a lot of services for small businesses that are just getting started or are in business but want to take that next step up in profitability or size. There are a lot of services for companies like that don't cost a thing. The Economic Development Authority provides a whole wide range of market information that is useful when you do your strategic planning and write your business plan. We can help companies find space, find employees, find contractors, suppliers, go to the right meetings so that they can meet the right people in order to network and find that this is something you're expert at, and this is something that you facilitate. Getting people in a room with the right people so that they can find the people they want to market their goods and services to, or from whom they want to buy goods and services. And that's a valuable thing. And a lot of this is either very free, either free or very inexpensive.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's usually informative for them. The county has information. The library system provides a great deal of resource information. It's all free. It's a public service. The state of Virginia has information, the federal government has information and connections and workshops, much of which is free. There are lists that companies can get on that they may not know about that enable them to apply for federal contracts or subcontracts. There are lists you can get on so that you can get a state contract, and once you've done that, if you get a contract with Fairfax County through the state of Virginia, you can then go on their YES system, and now you can be considered by any other jurisdiction in the Commonwealth of Virginia. There's 100, well over 100. So all these things are free. A lot of companies, when they get to a certain point, need to understand how to do marketing. A lot of entrepreneurs are very good at providing the service, or they may be a good software engineer, but they're not necessarily good businessmen and women. And so having those free services and having the connections with people who can help provide those business services, accounting, legal, marketing, financing, all those things, auditing, all those things can be put together for them. And the other thing that happens with small businesses is that they are so dedicated and so involved in their business. A restaurant, for example, or a store, they're spending every day there, very, very long hours. They don't have a lot of time to go out and take classes and things. If they can go to a meeting and meet a bunch of people and get it done at once in one place, that really helps them out. And so that's what we try to do.
Yes, absolutely. I can vouch for that because I attend as much as I can the seminar that are being put on at Tech Corner. We just have one this past week, actually. It was the panel. I mean, it was unbelievable, the amount of information. What was one of the things that was the most impressive to me, a similar seminar could be given in the private arena, and they'll ask you $1,000 for it.
That's right.
Easily. And it won't be incorrect because of the worth of the information.
Yeah. I tell you, Basil, you've really touched on something important because small businesses, everybody knows when a Northrop Grumman comes to Fairfax County, and everybody knows when CSC or Hilton or Boston. These are good things. And they help the small business community, but people sometimes lose sight of the fact that small business is where our economy is growing. In Fairfax County, like anywhere else, most of the growth comes from companies that are 1 and 2 growing to 5 and 10 or 20 and 30. And that's what's generating the tax base and helping to employ people and helping new Americans realize this American dream that everybody always looks forward to having their own business and being their own boss.
Absolutely. It is, as I mentioned, I lived in Europe and I came to the US. I came to the US actually for vacation, short vacation. And I went back and I packed. 3 months later, I was in the US. And literally, I've said this, it's sometimes difficult for the American person to realize what he has because he haven't checked out, experienced anything else.
Right.
I came, I went back. I mean, to me, it was just unbelievable. And truly, today in the United States, I do things. This program is an example that it would be extremely difficult for me to do in Europe, only because the United States is the United States and offers you the opportunity. We're talking about the seminar, the information, the connection with people. I'll say the United States is the best country in the world. And my son bias, but because I've seen what else is out there.
That's right.
That's why I'm making that statement.
Yeah, there are countries in Europe, Germany is an example, where if you start a business and you fail, you're prohibited from ever starting a business again.
Oh, really?
And that's a discouragement. In this country, people who have failed, it's almost like a badge of honor. When they go for financing, great, you failed. You learned a lesson. You're more likely to succeed now than you were then. I want to back you. And so this is not only a land in which everyone, and a county in which everyone has opportunity, but where you're encouraged and where it's actually facilitated by public sector. I know with everybody around the United States, there are a lot of communities that are very diverse. I believe this is one of the few communities that not only has the diversity that we all cherish, but actually embraces it, goes out and tries to attract it.
Absolutely.
We do a lot of research at the EDA, and what we've learned is that people who work in this community, think that diversity is a good thing because people come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different training, and they see things this way, and the guy next to him sees things this way, and the guy next to them sees, and so you have all these different perspectives on a business problem or any other kind of problem, and so you have a lot of different potential solutions. That's much to choose from, and you don't always get that. We also know that in our neighborhoods, that diversity is very important. People tell us one of the reasons they like being here is because they want to raise their family in a community where their children will grow up in the world of today. My children grew up in Fairfax County on a street where every year they celebrated Hanukkah, Tet, Ramadan, and Christmas every year.
Wow.
And they're better people for it.
Oh yes,
they're
yes,
very
yes,
comfortable
yes,
in
yes.
the world today.
Absolutely, and they need that because later on while they move in life, they're going to be up against it.
Yes.
And if they've dealt with it, know about it, they will be that much flexible, adaptable, so it make their progress that much more easy.
Yes. Yeah. We're fortunate in Fairfax County in that regard, in a great many regards.
Oh yes, I mean I loved it. I came here much by quote-unquote accident, and then Tony Badassi was not an accident before I met to be here, really, but it's unbelievable. You name it, we have it, and you name it, we have it.
That's right. Well, then, and you know, the interesting thing is everybody here is from somewhere else. Nobody here in the United States is from America, ultimately. My grandparents were all 4 immigrants, so I heard their stories, and you know, you have your story, and somebody else has their story, and it all blends into one big positive group.
I tell you personally, getting into this area, I just fell home because of the way it is.
Right.
Yes, you just fell home because that. I mean, it is unbelievable. It's a total, complete strength, as you mentioned. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it spawns a lot of small businesses of different types. I've been active with the Arts Council in Fairfax County, and I was active with the Symphony, and it's given me an opportunity in this community to hear music from around the world, to see art forms from around, dance and public art and things like that, from painting from around the world. Things you might not have the ability to see and enjoy in other parts of the country.
Oh yes, definitely. Like I mean, Mohan, Idaho, Mohan. I don't know that. I'm nothing against the Mohan people, but that's being said. I've never been there, by the way. I'm just trying to imagine some far places where it may not be the case. You may not have that.
Right.
The food or what have you, different restaurants, you can say,
yeah.
I want to eat this, that, the other thing. Of course, it's there.
Yes,
you know,
that's
a
right.
show, different show, they're all there. I mean, like, there's literally, you name it, you can have it.
That's right, and a lot of those are small businesses,
True,
even in the arts. I mean, and restaurants. They're all contributing to the tax base. They're creating jobs as well as part of our quality of life. So we're very fortunate here in that regard.
Yeah, definitely.
And the Economic Development Authority promotes all of this because when we sell Fairfax County to businesses, we're trying to sell the business environment and the assets that they would have here to help make a business decision. But businesses are comprised of people.
True.
And people want to live in good places, and people want to live in places where they can raise a family, and where there's diversity, and where there are opportunities, and where there's, you know, we've got everything. You can be, in 2 hours you can be to the mountains, and 3 hours you can be at the beach. You can't beat it.
But now, I want you to please say a word about it, because the EDA has offices in different countries as well to achieve their goal.
That's right.
Can you tell us a bit about that, sir?
We have 7 external offices, 5 of which are outside the United States. And these are not a great deal in terms of dollar investment and a great return on the investment. They're located in London, Munich, Tel Aviv, Bangalore, and Seoul. And they're sending companies from those markets that have a common technology and state-of-the-art technology, and business plans that enable them to expand into the United States. Some of them locate here and stay and sell into this market. Some start here and then expand throughout the U.S. as they become successful. Some are large, some are small. They're from 42 different countries around the world. There are 395 of them, and they employ 25,000 people directly, And of course, that spins off people who are working in restaurants, who, because you earn your money, you spend it.
That's right. That's right. Definitely, yeah.
So it's a great benefit, and it further diversifies our economy. It facilitates trade as well as inward investment. We also have offices in Boston and Southern California doing the same thing.
Okay.
And again, the return on investment is much greater than one-to-one.
Well, that's definitely a bad strategy because talking about trade, as Benjamin said, once you have trade, things happen.
That's right.
And the trade now affect the economy, the quality of life, and everything else. And whereas if not, the place will be just stagnant.
That's right.
And not much would be happening. And I know you have been very, very successful, you and your organization, getting big businesses over here in this area. And that definitely has had a major impact. We happen to have a few seconds left over here. What good word would you like to leave with the audience?
Well, there are a lot of things that will enable them to be more successful in business, and a lot of them are free and easily accessed. Conferences like you run, and information is available. It's all on our website, www.economicdevelopmentauthority.org. And I'm sorry, www.fairfaxcountyeda.org. And it's all free, it's downloadable, and it's good stuff.
Very good. Well, folks, there you have it. FCEDA, Fairfax Economic Development Authority. Check it out on the website. Thank you very much for coming. Looking forward to seeing you next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.